Coming to you from the TheEoNProject Studios, overlooking the vast, pristine acreage of Primrose Village. Greetings from this hidden gem of the Blackstone Valley. You're listening to Experts of Nothing with Mike and Jay. Yeah. Jay and Mike.
It's quite the flourish you added to the end of
Well,
it.
you know, I like to add a little spice.
Spice. Speaking of spice,
Yes?
it's Thanksgiving week.
It is.
Isn't that exciting?
What's your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
Oh, you're going to laugh.
I
My
am?
favorite Thanksgiving dish is whole cranberry sauce, not the jellied kind.
No,
I make my own homemade out of cranberries.
You do?
Yeah.
That must take some doing.
No, it's very, very easy.
Yeah?
It's good. It's delicious.
Yeah, it's good.
You put it on the sides.
Put it on the sides?
Wait, ready? It's tart.
Ooh, it's tart. You
It's
make
tart.
You make it up with real cranberries?
Real
How do you
cranberries.
get that? How do you get that gelatinous texture?
You don't.
You don't?
It's like, well, when you cook the cranberries, they pop open. Actually, they audibly pop. They go.
Oh, and they ooze their innards into the pan?
That's correct. And then it becomes like a cranberry slurry.
What if you took that and mixed it with the gelatinous one?
I don't like the gelatinous one.
No, you don't?
No, that's gross. It's all can-shaped.
Do you prefer the dark meat or the white meat?
I like white meat. I find dark meat to be fatty and gross.
Yeah, I'm a white meat man
Like
myself.
some chicks I've dated.
Because the dark meat is there are portions of the dark meat that are questionable.
Yeah, no, I agree.
You know what I mean?
You don't know what it is.
You're not sure. It's
No.
too dark.
And you know what? I found that the people who enjoy dark meat are all jerks. I was gonna swear.
Really?
Yeah, people. If you like my mother-in-law, she's all into the dark meat.
Oh.
She's like, I don't want it unless it's dark meat. And of course, you know the people from Massachusetts. Dark meat.
Hey, he causing the microphone to peak here. Easy.
Sorry, Dak. It's dark meat.
So she likes the dark meat.
She likes dark meat, and to make matters worse and to add insult to injury, she only drinks decaf coffee.
Ooh.
Why would someone drink decaf coffee?
I don't know.
That's so stupid.
Coffee itself doesn't taste good. So what's the point?
I enjoy it, but the point of it is for the caffeine.
Okay.
Wouldn't you think?
Okay.
So, we're getting mail during
We
the
got
show.
a message there.
Wow.
You know what my mother does? Not my mother-in-law.
No,
my mother
your
eats,
actual mother.
My mother eats the neck of the turkey.
No, she doesn't.
Yes, you know that thing that you pull out of the
And
body?
you throw in the trash?
No. She puts it in a like a soup and pulls it out and eats it.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's awful.
Your mother... I've never heard of that.
Speaking of strange,
I thought you made like a gravy with it, but then you throw it away.
they could. They do. They make a stock.
The gizzards.
Speaking of strange shenanigans, so we don't normally talk sports on this show.
We don't.
But did you watch the Monday Night Football game last night?
Between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Rams.
Yes, two powerhouse offenses.
You know what? I wasn't going to watch it. I ended up watching it, and I'm glad I did.
It was an exciting game.
Very exciting.
If you like defense, that wasn't the game for you.
No, it was a total combined like 100 points.
105 points.
105 points.
And offensive output galore.
Although, you know what? The best defensive player in the league is on the Rams. He had 2 strip sacks. Donald.
Yeah.
But that's his last name, Donald, not his first name.
Let me ask you this. So there's a color guy, a
What?
color commentator
Color commentator, yep.
on the show. His name is Booger McFarland.
Booger McFarland. Yes.
And he rides around in the Boogermobile on the sideline.
Booger McFarland.
Why is it that he accentuates and accents the sentence as it goes on when he's talking?
Like, can you give an example?
Yeah, so he'll go, the quarterback of the Los Angeles Rams, Jared Goff, is the best quarterback in the world.
Oh, he's adding emphasis.
He emphasizes it. Todd Gurley just ran a 100-yard dash.
You know, there's a couple of good color commentators. Most of them are terrible.
Yeah.
And they say things like, well, the goal, obviously, is what we want to do is we want to be able to score more points to defeat the other team.
Do you think they tell Booger to emphasize as he gets towards the end of the sentence?
I don't think he's probably a good public speaker.
Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league.
Mahomes.
Why does he do that?
I don't know, but the other commentator kept saying, Mahomes! And then he would have like a mini orgasm. Mahomes! Yet again, Mahomes! That's a hard word to say if you have bad breath. And you're talking to somebody, hey, did you see Patrick Mahomes? And they're like, ugh, that's so gross. Are we having a show today?
We are having a show, but you know what? This is going to be an
Fun.
interesting show because
Fun.
we do have some topics that we're going to talk about, but this is a free for all. This is
Yeah.
this is the last show before the holiday weekend.
Yeah, we're probably going to be off for a few weeks maybe.
And it's 8 in the morning, and we're drunk,
Drunk already.
and we're having fun,
Day drinking.
and there's going to be a lot of shenanigans.
Do you do day drinking?
On occasion.
Don't you always regret it later? Like, it feels great at the time.
Yeah.
But then, like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, you start going, ugh.
Yeah, you're all worn down and tired.
And then you take a nap, and then
You
you're
wake up, you feel like crap.
all messed
you get
up.
kicked in the face by a mule.
Speaking of which, we had an TheEoNProject field trip. this past weekend.
We did. I was going to ask you about that.
Yep, we visited world famous hypnotist Frank Santos Jr. At a local casino establishment.
That's right. He's an entertainment hypnotist.
That's right. So he hypnotizes people into doing strange and erotic things. And my lovely wife participated as she normally does when we go to hypnotists because she's very easily suggestible, hence why she married me. And she went up there. He made her think she was a world-class stripper, and she started doing exotic dancing on the stage, which I knew she would do.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yes.
We might have a disagreement on this.
Uh-oh.
What are your actual thoughts on that type of hypnosis that we watched the other day?
My thoughts are...
Well, hold on.
Oh.
For those of you that are not familiar, he's an R-rated hypnotist, they call him.
Yes.
And he brings people on stage, and he supposedly, quote-unquote, hypnotizes them.
Instantaneously.
And makes them do all kinds of strange shenanigans for laughs.
That's right. So I'm sure that he's not the only one. That probably exists.
Sure.
People do that. My thought is this. I think probably half to more than half of the people that go up there are faking it. I think that there's a certain percentage that are faking. I think that there's also a certain percentage that are actually hypnotized. And I know this because my wife would never do that crap in front of people unless she was under the influence of some kind of suggestibilities. Obviously, you disagree.
I do disagree.
Okay, you think it's all made up?
I think that 100% of the people that go up there... So here's the thing. If this person had this kind of ability where he could just, in a matter of minutes, just say a few things
right.
and get complete mind control over somebody, that would be one of the most amazing abilities in the world.
No, I'm with you. But
so what I think is happening is that it's just, first of all, it's the power of suggestion, number one.
Yeah.
It's the entire environment, how this group of people is up in front of the stage and they feel a certain obligation to entertain the audience.
If he did it like in a parking lot someplace, it wouldn't be the same thing.
No.
I got it.
No, I just think it's the whole environment. I think the people want to help participate.
I think all
they
want
to make the audience laugh.
All of that goes into it, but I think that there is a modicum of actual hypnosis that goes on. I mean, because hypnosis is a recognized thing. People, do you not agree that hypnosis is a real thing?
Maybe in a controlled environment, in a therapeutic sense, possibly.
Well, this guy does weight loss and smoking cessation and stuff like that. I don't know. The whole thing is kind of up in the air. But my wife is not an exhibitionist in any stretch, by any stretch. But she was up there doing and we've been a few times, and she does it every. I don't know.
And people feed off of the crowd too.
Sure.
They get up there and they get a couple of laughs, and next thing you know, they're totally into it.
Yeah, but it's just like anything.
Like Rocket Robbie.
Oh yeah. So what are we talking about today?
Well, I think we're going to talk about a couple of true crime events that occurred.
We're going to delve into the true crime world a little bit today, and we're going to talk about some interesting cases in history, as we often do on this program. And actually, the cases we're going to talk about, one of them is really old, and then a couple of them are from lesser old.
Sure. Lesser old?
Lesser old. But before we get into that, I have a quick news story I want to talk about.
Okay.
And this is something which, if true, would be... after we get done, after I tell you about it, I want your honest opinion. We haven't discussed it. We're going to talk about this today. Here's the headline. This is from a major news network that I won't plug because they're not paying us. Interstellar Object may have been alien probe, Harvard paper argues, but experts are skeptical. Here's the story. A mysterious cigar-shaped object spotted tumbling through our solar system last year may have been an alien spacecraft sent to investigate Earth, astronomers from Harvard University have suggested. The object, nicknamed Oumuamua, meaning a messenger that reaches out from a distant past in Hawaiian, was discovered in October 2017 by the Pan-STARRS-1 telescope in Hawaii. Have you been to Hawaii?
No.
Me neither. I'd like to go. Since its discovery, scientists have been at odds to explain its unusual features and precise origins, with researchers first calling it a comet and then an asteroid before finally deeming it first of its kind, a new class of interstellar object. A new paper by researchers at the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysicists, which sounds like a bunch of smart people. Smart people smarter than you and I, raises the possibility that the elongated dark red object, which is 10 times as long as it is wide, was traveling at speeds of upwards of 196,000 miles an hour, that it might have an artificial origin. It may have been a fully operational probe sent intentionally to Earth's vicinity by an alien civilization, they wrote in the paper, which has been submitted to the Astrophysical Journal Letters. Okay, so this is Harvard University saying that an object could be a probe? Why is it this huge news?
Where do they come up with this, though?
No, I think that they come up with it because they can't tell what it was.
Are they saying it's under intelligent control?
That's what they. Yeah, and if you read, and the article's a lot longer. I just kind of surmised it a little bit, but basically the object changed speeds a couple of times. It actually moved. It seemingly intelligent. It didn't, like an asteroid or a comet continues along a straight path unless it's impacted by gravitational forces, in which case they can predict that.
Yeah.
This thing moved.
Like random movements.
Yeah. And it's gone now. It was here for a while.
But they never got any pictures of this thing.
Yeah, no. Not pictures. They got like radio frequency.
I see.
They can kind of tell how big it is, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know about that. But it's Harvard University.
It's honestly, I mean, it's not really, wouldn't be, in my opinion, out of the realm of possibility, right? I mean,
sure.
We agree that there's things out there that we can't explain.
Well, what would we do if we thought that there was life in another solar system? What would be the first thing that we would do? We would send a probe of some kind.
We'd try to send a probe.
Yeah. I like to say the word probe. Probe.
But I mean, even if, let's say that the civilization was maybe 1,000 years more advanced than we are.
That would be a lot.
It doesn't sound like a lot, but really it is.
Sure.
And
when
they
you consider how we were 200 years ago.
The technology to send out some sort of craft of some kind to travel around the expanses of the universe.
Yes. Anyway, interesting story.
Hopefully, it comes back around and lands on the lawn of the White House. That would be fun.
I don't think that I want President Trump be the first human to interact with the aliens, because he might say something that he probably should.
He might offend an alien.
Yeah,
could be.
He might go to.
He might revoke its press pass.
He'll take its pass away. He'll grope it somehow.
Oh,
anyway,
all right.
So I think I should go first, and it's probably because my true crime case goes back further in history than yours.
Oh,
is that okay?
Sure.
Many people believe that the phenomenon of serial killers is a relatively recent one, and that it's primarily American. This is obviously not true. Human beings have been sick, twisted weirdos since we first crawled out of the ocean and sprouted legs. Do you believe in that theory that we used to be fish and crawled out of the ocean and sprouted legs?
No, I think that's a metaphor, to be honest.
Okay.
I think first life forms emerged from the muck in the waters.
The primordial ooze of the ocean.
But not mankind.
Not specifically.
No.
Okay. So there's always been killers, but when did history first start keeping records of killers in the cereal variety? And I don't mean like Captain Crunch, which just cuts up the roof of your mouth.
Fruity Pebbles?
Captain Crunch makes your mouth feel like a tattered mess of bandages.
You get that Captain Crunch mouth.
Yeah.
Shard bits of flesh.
So anyway, we're going to talk about a guy by the name of Giles de Rais. You ever hear of him?
Yeah, I'd have.
Mr. de Rais, let's call him Giles, was a well-respected military commander in the French army in the early 1400s, so we're going back a long time. He was born into a noble family and from an early age displayed remarkable intelligence and aptitude for military studies. As a young man, he married a very wealthy lady and thusly became really, really wealthier, which is not really a good term.
Mm-hmm.
He then took an interest in ongoing 100 Years' War with England, as so named because...
It was 7 years long?
It was 100 years long.
Oh.
War between England and France. As the homeland of Giles de Rais was a hotly disputed piece of property between the two warring nations.
Wasn't he friends with Joan of Arc?
Aha! Stop jumping ahead!
Oh, sorry.
When Joan of Arc appeared on the scene in 1429, he was assigned by the Dauphin, which was later Charles the 7th, to watch over her in battle. So he was just, basically assigned to be her bodyguard.
Are you going to talk about Joan of Arc at all?
Not really.
What is your thoughts on her quickly?
Well, she was a peasant girl, if I remember correctly, that was supposedly influenced by divine forces,
right,
and led her peoples to victory.
Right.
I don't know a whole heck of a lot besides that.
Well, she's a saint because they said that
she was martyred.
That
that's why
God intervened and was telling her what to do, and she was hearing voices from God.
Yes.
When in reality, more than likely, she had mental disorder.
Could be.
And was schizophrenic and was hearing voices.
It could be.
Either way, she's a saint.
Anyway, so Joan of Arc and Giles de Rais fought together in some of the most major battles of the war, including the Siege of Orleans. In 1429, he was appointed to the position of Marshal of France. France's highest military distinction.
Mm-hmm.
After Joan was burned at the stake, which you know happened, not the stake like a porterhouse, but a stake like a piece of wood.
You like cube steak?
No.
It's gross.
Well, on a sandwich, like a steak sandwich, that's the kind of steak that you have for a steak sandwich.
Yeah, but you got to shave it thinly.
Well, it comes shaved usually.
It's got to be extra thin. I don't like any connective tissue.
Well, no, you can't have you can't take like a T-bone and make a sandwich out of it.
Well, if you shaved it enough, you could.
I don't know.
Like a Mach 3?
You have a Mach? I don't subscribe to the whole expensive razor.
Nah.
Plus, it's
waste of money.
No shave November, anyways. So anyway, Joan was burned at the stake, And old Giles kind of drifted away from military matters and began squandering his huge fortune on palaces and entourages and fine wines and
hookers and cocaine.
Cheeses and whatnots. Cheeses and hookers. But mysteriously and ongoing for several years, children, mostly boys, began disappearing from the countryside nearby Giles de Rais' most wonderful palace. Nothing was thought much about it at the time. It was commonplace back in the day for kids to go missing because of plagues and traveling circuses and fire swamps and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it seemed as if Giles was spending his vast fortune too quickly, and he sought to employ the dark arts to maintain his wealth.
Ooh.
He started dabbling in the occult, and soon found that sacrifices were required. It just so happens that the sacrifices he needed to make were right in line with his disgusting pedophilia and serial killer tendencies. Giles had been luring kids to his palace with promises of food and money, and then raping and killing them in gruesome ways, which is not funny at all.
That sounds horrific.
He had his servants do a lot of the snatching of the kids and disposing of the bodies, but not before he had his way with them.
They must have been well-paid servants to be doing that.
Even after death. Really disgusting stuff.
Oh, like necrophilia?
Yes. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but he was a big fan of the necrophilia. But one day, Mr. Giles slipped up. After a fight he was having with the local church, I don't know why he was fighting with the local church. He probably went in there. You ever been to church? You're not a church-going man yourself, but when you were a kid, you ever go into church in the wintertime and it's freezing cold because they won't turn on the heat?
They won't.
And then they try to berate you from the podium.
You got to give them money.
Yeah, they go, we're only going to turn the heat on if you give more money.
We're not going to start this service until you hand over your paychecks.
No one goes to heaven until you pay us. Anyway, so he was having a fight with the local church. Giles actually kidnapped a local priest for some reason. The church was very powerful at the time, and Giles was arrested and put on trial. Ecclesiastical court, if you will.
Oh.
Several peasants from nearby villages also came forward to state that their children had gone missing after begging at Giles's castle. In one instance, a furrier, you know what a furrier is?
A furry? That's somebody
That's
who
when they dress
wears
up like
costumes, right?
wear a costume to have sex. No, furrier is like somebody who, I think it's like taxidermy or something like that.
Oh.
I don't know. A furrier relayed how his 12-year-old apprentice had been borrowed by the de Rais and by Giles de Rais and never seen again. Eventually, under threat of torture, Giles confessed to the crimes, saying, quote, "When the said children were dead, he kissed them, and those..." Oh, wait a minute. This wasn't him saying that. Somebody else said this. "When the said children were dead, he kissed them, and those who had been the most handsome had their limbs and heads held up for him to admire. And he had their bodies cruelly cut open and took delight at the sight of their inner organs." Isn't that pleasant? As a reward, Giles de Rais was simultaneously burned alive and hung in 1440. It's estimated that he killed upwards of 200 children.
Well, I guess everybody has their thing. We all have hobbies.
That's a thing.
And Giles, he was looking for something to pass the time.
Well, it just goes to show you that rich and powerful people always get away with stuff.
Yes.
And it doesn't. And in this case, this is the most disgusting thing you could possibly do to somebody. And he get away with it for a long time because he's rich.
Here's the problem with being rich and powerful, and that's actually a theme that runs into my story, which you're going to see later on. But
that's what we call a segue.
Especially when you're born into money and you're privileged.
Yes.
You
think rules don't apply.
And you don't know what the real world is like, and
Right.
you try to find new and interesting ways to entertain yourself.
Right. That's why people go to like this Met Gala and they wear crazy costumes and stuff. I wonder at what point do you think somebody stops becoming a normal person and starts being a rich, crazy person? Like you said, they have to be born into it, or like let's say somebody like local hero Tom Brady. Tom Brady has everything the world could possibly give you. He's a multi-millionaire. He's got a beautiful wife, and she makes more money than him. And
he's so handsome.
He's a handsome man. He's got children.
He looks good in football pants.
Yep. So he obviously doesn't live in the same world as you and I. So he can, at what point does he become not a normal person anymore? He starts doing weird stuff.
Well, he's not normal.
No, I know that now. He does weird stuff.
Well, it took him a while.
That's what I'm saying. At what point? You don't know.
At some point.
Worthless.
All right.
Anyway, that's my Giles de Rais story.
Okay, that's good. What do you think about ribbon candy? You know that, like the Christmas
ribbon candy.
Ribbon. It's ribbon shaped.
Sure.
And it's different. There's different flavorings.
I don't think I've had ribbon candy since I was a small child.
I think it's like the confection of death. Remember, like you'd bite it and it would like break off into sharp.
Yes, it's very dangerous.
Pieces and it would cut your esophagi as it goes down.
There's some dangerous foods. We talked about Captain Crunch, ribbon candy. What other kind of dangerous foods are there?
Dangerous, huh?
Like a pineapple. You ever try to cut a pineapple? You cut your hands all up, man.
Yeah, it's pokey.
All prickly.
It's pokey on the outside.
Prickly and pokey, like you.
There's a certain way that you got to cut that sucker.
Yeah, I don't know how to cut some fruits and vegetables.
How do you feel about people who solicit gifts from others on Facebook?
What do you mean?
Like Christmas gifts for their kids.
They solicit gifts?
Yeah, like they go, hey, if anybody's wondering what to get my kid for Christmas, I'll send you a link. And it's just on Facebook.
That seems pretty presumptuous. Isn't
that weird?
Yeah, rude.
Yeah.
And obnoxious. Do you hear a buzzing noise?
Buzzing?
I think the government is listening.
A buzzing?
The government is listening to our program.
Hold on, let's listen for a second.
Yeah, you don't hear that?
No, I don't hear it.
No.
What is it?
It's just me, I guess.
Oh, it could be. You know what that could be? The HVAC system.
Oh, from the palatial.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it warm in here for you.
Well, we had to fire Kiko, the receptionist.
I'll take some
due to dwindling profits.
I'll take some gas money before you leave.
Gas
keeping you warm. What's your next topic?
Well, I think you're going to go next because I have a kind of a longer one, and it's probably going to have to come after our elaborate halftime show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to get into a very interesting case. I've always found this one quite interesting, and then I did a little more research on it last night.
Wait, before you get into it.
Yes.
Can I mention something that happened to me this morning?
Sure.
I forgot to mention at the outset. Have you ever had to deal with Amazon for anything?
In terms of what?
Like you bought something and then there was some kind of problem with it?
Yeah, I just return it.
Okay. I had a problem that I'd never had before, and I want to tell you about Amazon for a moment. Everyone likes to poo-poo Amazon and say that they're terrible. It's just they fix problems faster than you could spit.
They do.
Unbelievable. So I bought something for myself, some sort of personal hygiene products that I don't want to mention, and it was same-day delivery, and I bought it yesterday.
Was it an anal razor?
Maybe. And I bought it in the morning, and they said it'll be there by 9 o'clock tonight. And I'm like, wow, it's same-day shipping. So, I was waiting for my products to come in, and in the afternoon, I get a text message, an email from Amazon that said, there's been a delay. It's not going to be there today. And I go, okay, that's disappointing, but I'll get it tomorrow. Last night, I get an email from Amazon that says, you're not getting it at all.
Oh.
It's been lost.
Oh.
Which has never happened to me, right?
Wow, okay.
Never happened to me. It said, it's been lost. Contact us for options. So I get on there. I didn't even have to talk to somebody. I get on there this morning. It says chat. A little chat button on there.
Yeah.
I go, here's my order number. It says it's lost. This lady, I swear to God, gets on in 2 seconds. She goes, I have your order. We're going to issue an immediate refund. Plus, we're going to give you $5 credit for your troubles. And we're going to reorder it for you. It'll be there tomorrow.
Wow, that's amazing.
Can you believe that? No muss, no fuss.
No muss, no fuss. You know what happened to me a few weeks ago?
No.
I myself ordered an item.
Oh.
Not from Amazon, from a different company.
Was it from Venus?
Yeah.
Venus Intimate Pleasures?
Yes, that's right. It was some sort of a latex covering.
Good thing you don't have a latex allergy.
But anyway, so they sent me a confirmation email,
Yeah.
and then they said that it had shipped, and they sent me a tracking number, right?
Okay.
But every time I checked the tracking number,
Which was probably every 15 seconds.
it couldn't locate the item. It just said that it had shipped, and it wouldn't update.
That's because it was probably the post office. The post office doesn't tell you where anything is.
So like a week went by, and I
a
finally
week?
emailed them back, and
That's
I said,
too long.
I said, hey, listen, I'm not getting any updates on this tracking number. So they emailed me back and said, we cannot find your product.
Someone stole it.
We don't know where it is.
We don't know where it is.
So we're sending out another one immediately.
Okay.
So they sent out another, a separate tracking number for the new item that they had sent me, right?
Yes.
That day, in the mail, came the lost item.
Oh, so you ended up with a double.
I ended up with a double for the price of one.
You didn't send it back?
I didn't send
You're
it back.
a criminal.
I went and sold it to somebody and made money on it.
You're a criminal.
Nope.
Unbelievable.
Nope. They sent it to me.
You're
sent
an
it to me. They sent it to me.
person.
They gave it to me.
Oh, you abused the trust of whatever that company
So
that
I
was.
actually made money on the deal.
You know what? I don't think you should admit to things like that on the radio.
No, I'm kidding. That never happened.
No.
Anyway, so the case I'm going to talk about
Okay.
is a little-known true crime case.
You know how many true crime podcasts? There's millions of
There's a
them.
lot. And they get more listens than we do. Mm-hmm. It's the case of Leopold and Loeb.
Oh, Leopold.
Nathan Leopold and Richard Loeb.
Like earlobe.
It was called The Perfect Crime. Or at least they thought it was The Perfect Crime.
Obviously not, because we know their names.
That's exactly what they were trying to plot. They were trying to plot The Perfect Crime, but as you will see, it turned out not to be.
You think there's such a thing as a perfect crime?
Well, if you get away with it, it's a perfect crime.
You wouldn't know their names.
That's true. Women do shop. So, on May 22nd, 1924, a body was found
Oh,
in a culvert.
what's a culvert?
Yeah,
Like
like
ditch.
a little ditchy cutout thing, wet and mucky.
You said ditchy.
So there was a 14-year-old boy named Bobby Franks.
Oh, Bobby.
He was it was a Chicago boy, and he went missing the day before, on the 21st of May, from his local Chicago neighborhood.
Uh-oh.
That's right. What was that noise?
That was a fart.
Oh.
Sorry.
So apparently there was a ransom note sent to the parents demanding money. Demanding a whole bunch of money.
Kidnapping for money. I got it.
That's right. But it turns out that they actually killed the kid before they were able to collect on the ransom. So as you'll see later on, they never actually intended really collecting the money.
If you're going to be a kidnapper, you probably want to keep your cargo alive.
That's right,
because you can get money for it.
But they want the murder was what they planned all along. They wanted to kill. They wanted to
kill somebody,
regardless. But the boy was he was bludgeoned to death. There was acid poured on his face and his genitals.
Ow!
He was stripped naked. Like I said, he was left in a
what jerks
in a culvert. And in the suspects, Leopold and Loeb.
Was there a sexual component to this?
I'm going to get to that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Later on. Yes, that's right.
Gross.
What?
Nothing.
Oh, so it was a hugely sensational case at the time, back in 1924, much like the O.J. case was several years ago for us.
Yes. Did you see the People versus O.J. Simpson, the Netflix show?
I watched one episode.
It was great.
And that was it. I couldn't take it.
Oh, you're insane. It was great. Cuba Gooding Jr. was a great O.J.
No.
Yes.
You think so?
And John Travolta played Robert Shapiro, and he did a great job.
It's funny you mentioned Robert Shapiro. So Robert Crowe, who was the state's attorney and the lead investigator in this case. So when the police found the body, right, they originally had few clues to work on, okay? So they had the ransom note,
okay,
right? They had an eyewitness that said there was a gray sedan in the area.
I wonder if it was one of those notes that, like, you cut out the letters from the newspaper and they're all weird.
Oh, yeah.
Those letters scare me.
They do scare me.
When you see that, you're like,
But actually, it turns out that it was actually typed. Well, the envelope was handwritten, but the letter itself was typed, and they were able to tie that into our suspects later on, as you'll see. And they were a pair of eyeglasses left at the scene. They were kind of like Harry Potter glasses, the round
ones, yeah.
Black glasses.
Sure.
And so they were able to find out, the police, at the time, when they relied merely on their cunning and instincts.
On their cunning?
To solve these cases.
Yes. Well, they didn't have the forensics abilities
they
that
didn't.
we do today.
But as you'll see, like I said, they were able to find the manufacturer of these glasses.
Oh.
And they found that there were only 3 pair of glasses that were made with this particular type of hinge.
What kind of an idiot leaves their glasses behind?
Well, they must have fell out of the pocket.
At a crime scene.
So they determined that the 3 people who had these particular glasses, one was a female. She was quickly ruled out as a suspect.
How did they find the person that bought it? They didn't have credit card receipts and stuff.
Oh, of course.
At the time.
They used to keep invoices of everything.
Invoices? So if I go in there with some money and I want these Harry Potter glasses...
No, you get writer's receipt.
Why do I have to write my name on it?
They used to keep notes, man. Keep track.
There's always somebody watching. Somebody always knows when I buy the body lube.
So anyway, the pair of the glasses came back to Nathan Leopold.
Bag butter.
Which originally they didn't think it was him because he came from a very rich... part of Chicago, South Side.
Rich people never commit crime.
The Kenwood neighborhood. He was a young boy. He was 19 years old. It seemed very doubtful that he would have been a suspect, but he was brought in anyway. Ooh. And quickly his story started to unravel for him.
Was that back in the day, though, when the cops used to just beat you for no reason? Like, tell us if you did it, and they punch you in the face.
It's quite possible. And, if you look at pictures of Leopold, he had a terrible unibrow. So that right there will tell you that he was guilty.
That's a huge indication of guilt, is the unibrow.
So apparently Leopold was studying for law school. Like I said, he was a prominent family at the time, where his family was worth about $4 million in 1924 money.
Oh.
So
that's a lot of money.
So apparently Crowe spent many, many hours interrogating Leopold.
Who's Crowe?
I just told you. Oh. He was the state's attorney, the lead investigator.
State's attorney.
That's right.
Mr. Crow. Mr. Crow!
So Leopold's original story, when they confronted him about the eyeglasses, was that he was an avid bird watcher, and he was out making a film about the Kirtland warbler.
What's a Kirtland warbler?
It's a little bit... It's a cute little bird.
It sounds like the nickname of a lounge singer. I'm going to see Joe the Kirtland Warbler at the
Kirtland Warbler
at the Dewdrop Inn.
That's it. So apparently he said that he did a lot of expeditions around the area where the body was found, and he must have dropped his glasses.
Must have.
That's right.
How can you see without his glasses?
Well, they must have been just reading glasses.
Just like Velma from Scooby-Doo. She could not see without her glasses. And her glasses used to fall off almost every episode.
That's right.
You figured she would get one of those elastabang things. Or the Chris Sabo glasses. Remember the Chris Sabo glasses from the
Yeah, you need a croaky.
Croakies.
A croaky.
Yeah, stupid Velma.
Yeah. So Leopold, whatever you want to call him.
Leopold.
Gave an alibi that him and his buddy Richard Loeb were driving around town the night of the murder in his red Willis Knight, which was a vehicle.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
They're blasting some tunes. Well, this is the 20s.
Well, you ready? They were actually, he said they were out drinking.
Oh.
Drinking around.
Drinking around.
Well, they were drinking around. You'll see later. They were out looking for girls.
Cruising the plaza.
Apparently, they picked up a couple girls. They fooled around with them. They wanted to have sex. The girls wouldn't have sex with them.
Well, that's the story of my life.
So they dropped them off, and that was original alibi. So
at least they dropped them off. They were nice.
yeah. So the police obviously they went and they searched the home of Leopold. They found and they looked in his room and his study. They actually found a letter to Richard Loeb, his buddy Richard. Right.
Imagine if Richard Loeb invented a new kind of sexual lubricant. It could be Loeb's Lube.
Dick Loeb's Lube.
Loeb Lube. Dick's Loeb Lube. All right, continue.
Anyway, so the letter actually suggested that Leopold and Loeb were gay lovers.
Lube. They need the lube.
Yes, they were homosexuals.
Oh.
So
And that was scandalous back in the day.
yes, and so this is just like a weird dynamic between these two.
So what? Yeah. So the typical stereotype of homosexual men is they're nice dudes, and they wouldn't engage in this type of behavior. Wouldn't you think?
Well, you have to think back in the day, back in this time where people were suppressed, you couldn't be outwardly homosexual.
Oh, so it probably led to a lot of stressors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So apparently the police brought Richard Loeb in for questioning, and so Loeb was actually a genius.
Was it a crime to be gay back in those days?
Well, yeah.
Was it against the law?
Well, I don't know.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to derail your conversation.
That's okay. So Loeb was a very smart young man. Apparently, he graduated high school at age 14, and he immediately went to the University of Chicago as a freshman at the age of 15.
Hey, this is called foreshadowing. The University of Chicago shows up later in this program.
Oh,
too.
it does.
Yep.
So his father was the vice president of Sears and Roebuck at the time, and was worth about $10 million, which now, as we know, Sears and Roebuck is pretty much defunct.
Sears sucks.
Right? Did they completely go out of business?
No, they still have some stores open, but they are circling the drain as we speak.
So Loeb actually corroborated Leopold's alibi, so they must have obviously talked about this beforehand.
Sure.
And they were kept in custody because the police were skeptical about this, and there was a lot of circumstantial evidence that was mounting.
Not quite the perfect crime.
And as I stated earlier, the handwriting on the ransom note on the envelope was actually they matched it to Leopold's handwriting, and as well as the typewriter that was used to type the actual note itself came back to something that a typewriter that Leopold.
It was a Wurlitzer.
It was a Cortland warbler.
Warbler.
Yes.
That's going to be my new nickname for my penis.
So they
It's going to be the Cochran Warbler.
tell you what,
It's coming tonight, ladies. Cochran Warbler.
it's Kirtland warbler. Warbler.
Kirkland Warbler.
Kirtland.
Not Wobbler.
No, Kirtland.
Because it definitely does do that.
It's hard to say warbler.
Warbler.
It's Warbler. Warbler.
That's going to be my euphemism for a sexual congress. Yes. Are you ready for some Kirkland Wobbler?
It's Kirtland.
Kirkland.
Not Kirkland.
Oh, not Captain Kirk.
You want to give me a little bit of warbler?
Here comes some Wobbler, baby.
Warbler.
Bite the pillow, I'm coming in.
Yeah, here she comes, baby. Wobbler. Backdoor warbler.
Backdoor action.
All right. Anyway, so these two withstood hours and hours of interrogation. Until finally Loeb cracked.
They beat him with a phone book.
Nope. Loeb confessed first.
Uh-oh.
Yep. And
What did he say?
These two idiots, as intelligent
This
as
is
they
the
were,
perfect crime.
as intelligent as they were, they started singing like a Kirtland warbler, and basically dropping everything that they did and how they planned it and all this other crazy
I
nonsense.
told you, they were beating him with a rubber hose filled with lead.
So Leopold confessed, but he blamed his buddy.
Oh, they always do that.
He blamed Loeb.
They always do that, man.
I'm not going to blame you.
No.
No, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't blame me?
No, I would blame
Yes,
you.
you would. You
No, I
throw
wouldn't.
me under the
I
bus
wouldn't.
your first opportunity.
Nope. I
yeah.
would take one for the team.
No. Well, you just want to go to jail so you can be in the shower.
So apparently the murder, they spent months planning this thing.
Months and months, and this is what happened.
They rented a car under an assumed name. They typed a note. They did all that stuff. They drove around looking for a victim. They didn't have anybody
so they
in mind.
typed the note before they even selected the victim.
That's correct. Yes. But then they saw Bobby Frank, so apparently it was a cousin of Richard Loeb.
Oh, which
And
explains why he would have gotten the car.
That's
with him.
right. So they pulled up next to him. Loeb was actually in the back seat and invites Bobby into the front seat. As soon as he gets in, they kill him.
What?
Yes.
Why'd they do this?
They bludgeoned him with a chisel, right?
Oh.
Then they shoved a rag in his mouth.
Oh.
And then they drove to the wetlands.
Well, that happens to me, but I don't end up dying.
On the way there, with the dead body in the car, they actually stopped for hot dogs and root beer.
Oh.
Because they were hungry and thirsty.
dead body?
Before they dropped the body off.
Ew.
And as I said, they poured acid on his face and
Why'd they do that?
his genitals.
Were they trying to disfigure him?
They were trying to obfuscate his
Well, the
identity.
fact that they poured acid on his genitalia makes me think that they fondled him or something like that.
Well, like I said, there was a that came out in the sentencing hearing was that apparently there was a sexual component.
I bet there was.
That they molested the young man before and after death.
Well, you said they killed him immediately, so how did they molest him?
Well, things happen.
Oh, we're just not sure.
So apparently, they took Crow, the investigator, and the entire prosecution team on a guided tour of exactly what they did.
You ever see they do that sometimes? They take they take the juries and everything to crime scenes.
That's right.
On these little field trips and stuff.
Right. So, not to keep going about this, but so they were apparently there were a couple of sociopaths. Loeb was apparently the mastermind behind this whole thing. When they had met years earlier, and he had some strange influence over Nathan Leopold. And as I stated, they were lovers, and they had a secret pact, basically.
They wanted to kill somebody.
So they started out with petty crimes, right? Loeb wanted to do all these things. He was doing, like, vandalisms, like little arsons, and he was doing thefts.
I have a friend, a very famous friend, in the firearms instruction industry.
Yep.
Named William Petty.
Okay.
And if he committed a crime, it would be a petty crime. Anyway.
That was kind of silly.
Sorry.
But anyway, the secret pact was Richard would agree to have sex with Nathan if he accompanied him on his crimes. And like I said, it started with petty misdemeanors and things of that sort. But then the ultimate crime was that they were going to commit this perfect murder. Oh. Yes, which is what they did.
Again, they should have thought about this in greater detail.
Yeah.
If you're two people who are going to commit such a heinous crime, you would probably plan for the eventuality that you are arrested. You should probably have a cover story and stick to it. Wouldn't you think?
So they actually subscribe to the theory of the Übermensch.
What's that?
Which is the Superman theory proposed by Friedrich Nietzsche.
Nietzsche.
Yes. Who basically says that people are, you're so great, you're so wonderful, you're so smart, you're so wealthy that you're actually above society and law and morality.
So like I got it.
So it didn't matter to them. You know what I mean? They
thought they were above the law.
They thought they were above everything. So this became, like I said, just to cut to the chase, it became a very sensational trial. The big thing was that the prosecutor was seeking the death penalty, and the lawyer for these two, I think his name was Sparrow or something of that sort.
A warbler.
He was advocating
bird references today.
It was
crows
actually
and warblers and
it was actually a red letter date in the history of prosecutions and defenses, because the defense attorney actually came out and entered a plea of guilty. He didn't want to defend them because he knew that he couldn't win the case, but he was trying to save them from the death penalty.
Well, that happens a lot.
And so he argued, and at the sentencing hearing, he talked actually for 3 days, the defense attorney did. And believe it or not, they actually got off. They didn't get the death penalty.
Wow.
They got sentenced to life in prison.
Did they get shanked?
Loeb was killed
that's too bad.
early on because he apparently solicited sex from somebody.
He can't help himself.
And the person didn't want that, and he killed him.
No, he didn't want
But the other guy, Nathan Leopold, was released from prison in the 1950s.
He actually got out.
He got out of prison.
Wow.
He was paroled, even though he was sentenced to life plus 99 years.
That's not good.
Somehow he was paroled, and then he lived out his days in obscurity, apparently.
Wow.
So it was a very interesting case.
You hear Leopold and Loeb mentioned, but you don't really hear the details of it.
It's just it makes people wonder, why? Why did they,
again, bored rich
down
people,
this course?
Bored rich people who had nothing else to do, think they're above the law. If you're a millionaire, you could probably pay somebody to allow you to molest them. Or maybe that's not exciting enough.
That happens.
Of course.
All right, so what do you got? You got a bit or something?
Okay, is it the halftime program?
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, let me pull up my notes for the halftime.
Don't pull anything out.
I'm gonna pull it out.
Oh, you're ruffling around in your papers there.
Are we ready to go? Right into it?
Yeah, get into it.
Okay. Here we go. For our halftime show today, we have an old friend that's going to be visiting us.
Oh, okay.
Beloved Frank.
Oh.
Friend of the program. You'd know Frank from previous commercials and advertising campaigns. We had the Door Store.
Yes.
We had Frank Skanks and Frank's Adult Cabaret and Hot Dog Emporium.
I've been wondering what Frank's been up to.
But today, we have Frank coming back to the program because he has been recently pursuing his dream of becoming a recording artist.
Oh.
He has joined us today to release some of his lyrical stylings upon the world like some kind of vocal viscous ejaculate. Your job, Jason,
yes,
will be to listen
to
the lyrics of these famous songs,
yes,
as could be sung only by Frank, and then tell me the artist and the song.
Okay.
Okay, so Frank's going to Frank's going to come in here in
Do
a
I
moment.
need to introduce Frank?
Yeah, I'm going to introduce Frank, and then maybe he'll stay for a couple of questions.
Oh, wait. Hey, there he is. Frank.
Hi.
Come on over here. Get down. Get a microphone set up for you.
Hey, there's a microphone over here for
All
you.
right, have a seat.
Hi.
All right, what are we doing, Frank?
Hi, I'm gonna sing songs today, and you're gonna tell me who made it famous.
This is name that tune by Frank.
Name that tune.
Name Frank's tune.
I can't promise it's gonna be just like the original. Maybe better.
Okay. Do you need any background music? No? All right.
Father Mackenzie, writing the words of sermon. No one will hear. No one comes near there. Look at him working. Donning his socks, spend the night when no one's there. What does he care?
Frank, do you need a lozenge?
No?
You know what's funny? Your stylings are so unique but yet distinct that I got that within the first line.
You did.
That was Eleanor Rigby by the Beatles.
That's right.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations.
Yes.
I think I'm better
What?
than Paul McCartney.
Well, could be. You could be the fifth Beatle or the sixth.
I was the first Beatle.
Are we ready for round 2?
Yes.
That was pretty easy.
That was good though. I picked that one up, but you're gonna. I imagine they're gonna get more difficult, Frank.
I think they are. Just looking at the set list here.
Okay.
And afterwards, we'll tell you where to find Frank.
Okay.
And you can download the music. Okay. Here we go. You ready, Frank?
Yeah. Sunday morning, went down to church. Seeing the men folks standing in line. I say they come to pray to the Lord with little girls who look so fine. In the evening, the sun is sinking low. Everyone is with the one they love there. I walk into town, searching all around, looking for my street corner girl.
Street corner girl.
Yeah. No. Is that your guess?
The lyrics are slightly familiar, but the tenor and tone of the song,
You can't get it.
I couldn't figure it out.
That's Hey, What Can I Do by Led Zeppelin.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't have
Familiar
got
with that one?
I wouldn't have got that.
No.
No.
Well, Led Zeppelin is one of those bands that they seldomly tell the
title.
The title.
Right.
Of the
It's always
song.
like a weird title,
Although those words do appear in that song. Hey, What Can I Do?
like that obscure Led Zeppelin song, the Swampy Kirtland Warbler.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, you ready?
I'm
This
ready.
one's probably a little easier.
Okay.
Ready for this one? Are you ready, Frank?
Yeah. Einstein, James Dean, Brooklyn's got a winning team. Davy Crockett, Peter Pan, Elvis Presley, Disneyland, Bardo, Budapest, Alabama, Cruise, Princess, the Grace in Peyton Place, and Trouble in My Sewer.
Is that "Start the Fire" by Billy Joel?
We Didn't Start the Fire by Billy Joel.
We didn't start the fire.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
Oh, you got that one. So
All right.
you got 2 right.
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. Okay, we got one. Well, we got 2 more. Got 2 more. You got time for 2?
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. This one's a little difficult. You gotta stay with me now.
I'm staying.
You ready, Frank?
Let's go.
There were times I'm sure you knew when I bit off more than I could chew and stuff. But all through it there was doubt. I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all and stood tall and did it my way.
That's "My Way" by Frank Sinatra.
Yay!
That was you gave it to me.
The end.
At the end there.
Well, Frankie, he's not the swiftest. Oh, sorry, Frank.
Not funny.
All right, one more. Ready for this?
I'm ready.
This one's gonna be sung, I think, instead of spoken.
Oh, all right. Let's hear it.
The other ones are kind of spoken, right, Frank?
Here we go. I can river flowers to seas, darling, so it goes to be meant to and have, taking my hand and hold the whole life of the two.
What?
Falling, I can't help falling in love with you.
Oh, that was
Can't Help Falling in Love with Elvis Presley.
yes!
Oh,
Yeah, you got it.
yeah,
Yeah,
all
that's
right.
good.
All right.
See, he's all right. You can get it.
That was pretty good. It'd be better if he had maybe like a live accompaniment.
Accompaniment,
musical
yeah.
accompaniment. Maybe that's what we'll do. We'll do a song with Frank, an actual song.
Can I mention something?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Frank. What are you up to nowadays?
Well, aside from being a recording artist, I am also having a problem at home. I am in search of someone to help. I have a problem with my leach field.
Okay.
I
Like
don't-
your septic tank?
Yeah, I ran out of leeches, so I need to find some to put in my field.
Uh-huh.
Do you know anyone?
No. Do you have any? Maybe that should be a new business endeavor for you. I know the first two didn't work out so well.
No.
The door store burned down.
No
and-
one wanted pine doors with no paint on them.
What happened to Frank Skanks and Franks? Is that still going, or is it? Have you closed the doors on that as well?
I had to shut down due to some allegations.
Allegations and allergens as well.
Maybe some mold.
Okay. So what are you just hanging out at home watching the leach field?
Leach field is not going well.
That's too
I
bad.
went outside and I got poop on my shoe.
Were you able to mend fences with your brothers after the fire?
Don't stay. I don't want nothing to do with them.
All right.
Bye.
All right. See ya.
Oh, there it goes.
All right. Bye, Frank.
Oh, that was fun.
Well, that was Frank.
Sorry. So, I don't know how we got in here.
I don't.
Oh, you know how? We fired Miko.
Wait. How did he even know where we were? As a matter of fact,
He must have trailed me here today.
he put a GPS tracker.
He
on
does
his
leave.
vehicle.
He lives nearby
Oh,
my home.
he lives in the woods behind the shed.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, are we on to the next?
Yeah. Go for it.
The next true crime story of the day. We are going to go back in time. Get in your backwards wayward machine with me as we peruse the late 1800s.
Oh.
We are going to foray into one of history's more disgusting folks and tell you about his exploits.
Okay.
During the Industrial Revolution, lots of people left their homes and towns and pursued life in the growing cities.
Yes.
Which had job opportunities, better food options, and hookers and stuff like that. Better hookers in the cities than in the rural communities. Similarly to Giles de Rais, who we discussed earlier, this person was born into a wealthy family and was born with the unfortunate name of Herman Mudgett of Gilmanton, New Hampshire, nearby to where we are. Young Herman was a very intelligent man as well, and he showed an interest in medicine. Unfortunately for local woodland creatures, Herman began trapping them and conducting rudimentary surgical procedures on them as a child.
Isn't that a red flag for possible serial killers when they
It is now.
torture animals?
Yes. So Herman Mudgett, he was born in New Hampshire to a wealthy family, starts doing surgery on animals, which, yeah, should be a red flag. Some accounts suggest that he also killed a young playmate, but records don't show this. When I say playmate, I don't mean like from Playboy magazine. This is like a little boy that he was playing
one of
with.
his little friends he used to play jacks with.
Anyway, young Mr. Mudgett grew to young adulthood and decided to try his hand at actual medicine. So he attended the University of Michigan, which was known for its medical program. During his schooling, Mudgett began what would become a pattern for him, and that's taking out life insurance policies on people who unfortunately die soon thereafter. I'm sure that's a coincidence. That has nothing to do with one another. As a mediocre student, he somehow graduated and moved to Chicago and took up work as a pharmacist. His medical background and weirdo childhood behaviors are what we in the film business call foreshadowing. Can you see how we kind of skipped through quickly? But,
Yes.
Unhappy with the name he was given at birth, he took up the name H.H. Holmes because it sounded cooler than
What does
Mudgett.
the HH stand for?
Well, H would be Herman.
Yeah.
And I don't know where the other H came from.
Homie?
H.H. Holmes. He would use that name for the rest of his life. Also around this time, Holmes started a side business of defrauding people. And he started to date and ultimately propose to wealthy young women and kind of string them along.
Yes.
Hoping to somehow come into their fortune.
That's right.
Get a hold of their money.
How come I can't think of stuff like this?
I don't know. Did you torture animals as a
I'm
child?
just going to be poor the rest of my life, I guess.
Yeah. At one point, old Holmesy was married to 3 women at the same time, unbeknownst to one another. Obviously.
Oh, wow. The guy can really juggle things, huh?
Chicks don't like that.
Man.
When you
I can't even look at adult films on my phone without my wife knowing about it.
That's
Never
true.
mind have 2 other wives.
Yeah. Holmes somehow convinced investors at this time to fund a construction project that he had proposed. A huge 3-story building that took up a whole city block. This is in Chicago now. The plan was to have the first floor be shops, the 3rd floor apartments, and the 2nd floor would be a hotel and apartments for Holmes himself. Throughout the construction, Holmes hired and fired several architects and contractors and supplied bizarre plans to the ones that actually did some work. In this way, only he knew the exact layout and the weirdo features that were being put into the building. Here are some of the weirder features that were found to be in the building afterwards. Chutes that went from different rooms straight to the basement. Well, that's kind of weird. Which the basement contained, for some reason, an industrial furnace that had no business being in such a building.
I see.
Also, some rooms in the hotel were airtight with strange pipes leading to them. Some locked from the outside only, and others had secret passageways leading to and fro.
This sounds fun.
Holmes opened this building, which was then known as the Castle, in 1893, which coincided with the Chicago World's Fair that year. There's a very good book about this. It's called Devil in the White City. Came out several years ago. I see it on your bookshelf.
Yes.
Right there. Actually, I read. Did you read it?
Yeah,
I read it myself. Very good book. And you could pick it up for next to nothing. I would definitely recommend it. It's a great in-depth examination of this case, but also of the Chicago World's Fair and architecture and all sorts of cool stuff that you don't think that you would like, but it's actually a really good book.
Did he give tours of his interesting building?
No.
Oh.
As a result of the Chicago World's Fair, thousands and thousands of tourists descended on the city of Chicago. And back then, it was fairly easy to disappear. You didn't have credit cards, you didn't have receipts a lot of times.
No GPS phones.
No GPS, no phones. So if you went someplace on a vacation, there's a chance that you wouldn't come back and no one would know what happened to you. Some of these tourists that were coming to Chicago for the World's Fair ended up at Holmes's castle and never came out. This is from Harper's Magazine now, which is a fairly interesting magazine. Quote, "It apparently was Holmes's practice to lock victims in a sealed asbestos-lined chamber and turn on gas. Immediately behind this asphyxiation chamber was another chute where the bodies could be dispatched to the basement. Some of these rooms on the second story were lined with iron plates, some had false doors that concealed tiny airless chambers, and nearly all had these gas connections. The doors to all the rooms were wired to an elaborate alarm system, which rang a buzzer in Holmes' apartment if somebody tried to leave."
Oh.
So you're probably wondering, why the heck is he doing all this? What is the gain?
Well, he's getting a thrill off it.
Well, there's a couple of different reasons, and we'll get to them in a moment. The cellar, perhaps the most remarkable section of this building, was fitted with operating tables, a crematory, pits containing quicklime and acids, surgical instruments, and various pieces of apparatus which resembled medieval torture racks.
So he was setting himself up for some good times there.
Yeah. Some thought that Holmes used these appliances to wring from his victims the whereabouts of their wealth, so he would torture them to tell them where their wealth could be found. Others said he used them in experiments that he hoped proved his pet theory that the human body could be stretched indefinitely.
Oh.
A treatment that ultimately would produce a race of giants. That's what he was trying to do.
I think you're gonna rip a limb off at some point.
Yeah. Holmes sometimes destroyed the bodies of his victims completely, sometimes aided by a needy skeleton articulator who answered his advertisement in the paper. So he would strip the flesh from the bones of his victims and then sell the skeletons to medical institutions. So that's partially why he was killing people.
Yeah, so he could, he's an entrepreneur.
Yeah. So in this way, Holmes was able to lure victims to his castle, kill them, and take their belongings and sell their bodies, which is pretty ingenious because you're stealing their stuff, you're selling their bodies, and that's it, right? It's a no muss, no fuss operation. The bodies he didn't sell, he cremated in the industrial furnace that I mentioned earlier. All this was discovered after the fact, as Holmes was ultimately arrested not for killing all these people, but for killing one dude in another state over a fraud dispute. After his arrest for that killing, Holmes confessed to killing at least 27 people in his murder castle, but most experts believe that it was probably closer to 200, as most of the victims were never found or reported missing at all.
Sure.
He later said, quote, "I was born with the devil in me." He would later explain that, quote, "I could not help the fact that I was a murderer no more than a poet can help the inspiration to sing." The castle was later demolished after the crimes were discovered, but the grounds are said to be haunted to this day. You can actually go there. It's like a vacant lot, I think. It's
like a little park, I think, right?
Yeah. No, you're right. There's like a little park there.
Yeah.
But not very nice. Not a very nice story. And still shrouded in mystery because, like you said, not a lot of records exist from the time. Not quite sure how many people made it into the castle and never made it out. And he really wasn't being forthcoming about it. His whole life was spent being a fraudster and a criminal. So you really can't trust anything that he said.
No.
But he's credited as being America's first serial killer.
But you know what? It's in this day and age, in our society nowadays, right? People would accept him. You have to accept him for who he is.
I do?
You do.
I don't have to
Because
accept...
you can't. You have to accept everyone for who they are and what they do.
Well, you know what phrase, and actually I had an argument with my wife the other day about this.
Yes.
This phrase has become popular in recent times. And that is when people say, "I was speaking my truth."
Speaking your truth?
First of all, there's no your truth.
No.
There's the truth.
Right.
And just because you think it's true doesn't make it so.
Yes.
So when people go, "Oh no, I was telling you my truth," that's a whole bunch of nonsense. You ever hear people say that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
"No, I was speaking my truth."
It's their way of justifying their position. Yeah.
Anyway, that was H.H. Holmes. Devil in the White City is the book.
Yes.
Pick it up. Very, very interesting. And it was actually the Chicago World's Fair created the perfect environment for a budding serial killer. Like I said, all these transients and tourists and people coming into town looking for work on the fair. He had pretty much an unlimited supply of victims to fleece.
Right.
And did all sorts of weird medical experimentations on him. Which is
You normally normally we don't hear about any new serial killers that they found recently, but
Right.
they're out there. They operate in the shadows.
Sure.
And so always keep a watchful eye.
Well, there's somebody that said, and I don't remember the exact figure, but supposedly in a regular person's lifetime, you walk past or come into contact with 3 or 4 serial killers, and you never know it.
Ooh.
Like, because they're out there, like you said, you're in a crowd, you walk past people. You may have interacted with somebody who was a killer, and you wouldn't know.
Well, let me ask you this: how many of serial killers, quote unquote, have serial killer tendencies, but have enough self control to keep themselves from actually acting upon their thoughts?
Probably way more.
A lot, right?
Sure.
Because we all have deviant thoughts now and again,
Of course,
don't we?
Of course. Somebody cuts you off in traffic, and you think about killing them. You really can't do that.
Well, most people have some self control,
And you wouldn't do it. Like, you have that thought for a second. I'm going to kill you. But you don't actually do it.
or you keep to yourself and you say,
Sure.
I'm having these strange sexual thoughts, and these strange fetishes, and I want to carry them out. But
well,
I can't.
I think that there's a
so
very
I'll just go lock myself in the bathroom
there's a distinct line between somebody who
search my phone.
sexually excited by killing someone and who's sexually excited by other weird things that don't involve killing someone. I
Right.
think that there's a clear line between those people.
You know what's funny too? Not funny, but some serial killers just kill for the thrill of killing.
Yes.
There's all different kinds of components. There's some that there is definitely a sexual component to it as well.
Well, and that's what's interesting about the H.H. Holmes was there wasn't supposedly a sexual component because he killed men, women, old, young, didn't matter. He was more in it for the money.
So
than
he
anything
didn't
else.
have a specific victim that he was looking
No,
for. Whereas some do.
That's right. A lot of serial killers have a type that they're searching for.
Speaking of a type, there's a certain type of person. So where we're recording this program, there's a city right next door. It's called the city of Woonsocket.
Woonsocket.
Which I'm sure you've heard us talk about many a time
It
before.
means thunder mist.
And for those that are not from the area and don't know much about the city, it is a most unique city indeed.
It's a pit.
It would be the armpit of Greater Blackstone Valley.
And we can say that because we grew up there.
Grew up there, and it's getting worse as the days go
it's
on.
no more fun.
Which is unfortunate because it's a city rich in history.
Sure.
We're talking about the Industrial Revolution.
Yes.
Lots of mills in the town still that were very prevalent back in the day.
Every once in a while, one of them goes up like a candle.
That's right.
But yeah.
But one of the things I saw, and it's the city of pajama pants. Which
Oh,
we
yeah.
mentioned before.
Yep.
Every day, all hours of the day and
That's
night.
the issued uniform in Woonsocket.
People wandering around the streets in pajama pants. Well, I saw something truly unique the other day. Walking down a main thoroughfare in the town. Was a young lady in pajama pants carrying a full container of gasoline, a gas can, smoking a cigarette.
That's great.
Darwin.
That is
in
definitely
full effect.
yes. That is definitely a smart person right there.
So I wanted to continue to follow her to see what happened.
But
I
it's funny you mentioned that. I saw a YouTube video the other day of a guy he had a campfire going, and there's always this guy at campfires, and he goes, I'm gonna make it bigger. I'm gonna pour some gasoline on it. And he had a gas can.
Yes.
What he didn't realize was when you pour gas, it's not the gas that's flammable; it's the vapors of the gasoline. So when you pour it out of the container, it travels up the vapors. And that's what happened. It traveled into his gas can and exploded. He got lit on fire and ran around like an idiot.
So I think I saw the same video, and I was trying to figure out why he was trying to put gas in the fire. It was already lit.
Going, yeah. It was already going.
It was already going.
I don't know why he did that. He's an idiot.
But I'm going to embarrass one of our loyal fans and listeners and members of the program here by the name of Brent of Old 303 Music.
Oh, Brent. We like Brent.
Because he recently did the same thing.
Did he singe his
He
eyebrows
was
off?
starting a brush fire or some sort of fire.
He's a
and
pyro.
he decided he was going to throw gasoline on it.
Why would he do that, Brent?
And he lit his leg on fire
Oh.
and caused severe burns.
Brent.
And he had to put a salve on it.
What are you doing,
And he
brother?
was in extreme pain for long periods of time.
Is it a
I hope you
salve?
are not permanently
Salve.
wounded by this.
Who
or
told you to put the
scarred.
bomb on? Did the maestro tell you to put the bomb on? Nobody knows what a bomb's going to do. Bombs are unpredictable.
So don't throw gasoline onto a fire.
Yeah.
That's it's never good.
Old 303 Music, great. Check them out.
That's right.
They produce a great product.
All right, and so I think we're getting close to the end here.
Yeah, here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go.
So I think what's going to happen is
I think Frank is letting the air out of your tires. I see him through the window.
Yeah, probably. That's all right. I have a never mind. So I think what's happening now, I think the Eon Project is going to, I think we're going to take a bit of a hiatus.
Yeah, going to go on hiatus.
And we're going to reevaluate what we're doing here on the Eon Project.
Yep.
And so to all our fans out there, we're going to be off the air for a while.
Yep.
But always feel free to go back and listen to some of the past episodes. We'll keep those up.
And contact us, please, if you enjoy the program, you want to see it keep going. You need to contact us at The Eon Project. That's TheEon Project at yahoo.com if you like what you heard. Because we're in the reevaluation stage.
We're going to do some introspection.
Yep.
We're going to look at each other deeply in the eyes.
Well, we'll do that anyway.
And we're going to come close to touching one another, but not quite.
Nope.
And we're going to try to figure out where we're going with this program.
No docking.
And what we're going to do next. And that's about it. So everything else you want to add?
Enjoy the holidays.
Yes.
Wish you all the best of luck in this new year coming up. Mm-hmm. And no, I have nothing else to add.
Oh, okay. So, just remember, until next time, the truth exists. Believe it.